We call it democratic and participatory evaluation, and this is partly an acknowledgement that democracy is not everybody likes the word democracy. We had Helen Simon speaking at one of our events, and she talked quite powerfully about how it is, although she sees herself as a democratic evaluator, it is a turn-off in certain contexts. You can't easily do democratic evaluation in Ethiopia because people like the underlying principles, but they're very suspicious of the name. It feels like a Western imposition. So, that I think is why we've broadened it, talking about participatory, and also because it acknowledges the long history of participatory approaches at IDS, which we also draw upon. When you think about an evaluation taking place or an intervention taking place, it's often in a community where there are already there are vested interests, but there are also strong debates about what matters and what constitutes progress. So part of evaluation is both acknowledging that those debates exist, but also, in a sense, taking account of them so they become data for us. And something that I'm involved in at the moment is looking at ways in which you can create deliberative spaces where people can come together at different levels and talk about what matters to them. So you might have agricultural extension agents, you might have people at more senior levels in the organisation, you might have individual farmers, you might have members of farmers' households. And to some extent, it's possible to create spaces where all these people can come together and debate, but it's also extremely difficult because you can end up with things that are essentially set pieces where people are sort of performing the happy community in order to secure resources, but you don't really have a chance to explore some quite fundamental cleavages within communities. So I think that's also a role for, alongside evaluation, sustained qualitative and ethnographic research. It is quite challenging, but there are a lot of social science research methodologies, many of which have been used by IDS already as part of their participation team. But of course, we're aware that much so-called participatory work is often participatory in name only because it's quite hard to get genuine participation. It takes time, it takes building rapport with communities. And there are often some power dynamics that maybe research and evaluation doesn't properly take into account. So our particular interest is what kinds of methodologies will produce evidence that will be considered rigorous by common standards, because evidence, rigour are very important, but will also give a whole range of people within the community an opportunity to debate and discuss the things that matter to them. This strand I would see as particularly focusing also on supporting debate within communities at all stages of the evaluation, before the project is even planned, right through to an evaluation maybe 3 or 4 years down the line, looking at more sustainable impasse.